Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Moore. We join you with some breaking news. Former President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. A spokesperson for Biden says he was diagnosed Friday and called it a more aggressive form of the disease. Biden and his family are now reviewing his treatment options. CBS News White House reporter Willie James Edmond joins us now from Washington. Willie, what else has Biden's office said about the diagnosis so far?
Hey there, Jessica. We're getting this statement from the former president's office just moments ago. I want to read that statement in full for our viewers. It says last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. And then it goes on to say on Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer characterized by a Gleason score of 9 with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive...
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. When you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why can't, for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
Yeah, so people are posting this clip everywhere now. A lot of people that feel some kind of way about this. We definitely want to report on it, let you guys know what's happening. And can't wait to hear from you guys in the comments. This is why I always start my show off, my intro. I've said this in thousands of videos, but I hope every last one of you that are tuned in that you are blessed, well, and healthy. And it's one love to the human race. You never know what somebody's going through, what somebody's battling. You know, we wish nothing but the best for everybody, man. No matter who you are, no matter what side you stand on, no matter if you hate Trump, you know, love Trump. No matter what your view is on this, on that, or where you stand with your politics. We wishing the best in everybody's life. We don't care what your skin color is, what you look like, where you're from, what your age is. We don't care. It's nothing but love on this channel, man. But a lot of people are saying all kind of things about this. Some things that I've seen I didn't really like. Still attacking the man. Again, I know we seen what has taken place these last 4 years, and from people falling asleep at the beach, for the lies, the cover-ups, the leaked audios, him not knowing where he's at, falling down, just cognitive decline, mental decline, all that stuff, man. But seeing people saying that this is some kind of a distraction, another this and that. Well, I wanted to say that I want to send my prayers to Joe Biden. We don't wish cancer or anything on anybody, man. I've lost loved ones too, but I've seen my second father die on hospice, and seeing what that chemo did to him, and turned him into skin and bone. And having that terrible memory of him in his last days, to the point where he used the restroom in front of me because the chemo made it to where he didn't have any bladder control, and he was an amazing guy, man. But seeing loved ones die from cancer, man, we don't wish that on anybody, man. But people are posting this clip everywhere of Joe Biden talking about saying he had cancer in 2022. We're seeing a lot of people post that. But a very aggressive form of prostate cancer that has went to his bones. I want to see what Terrence is talking about in this.
Y'all, let's get something straight. I don't wish cancer on anyone, okay? I don't care if you are a Democrat. I don't care if you don't support Trump. I don't wish cancer on you. I would not wish that on my worst enemy. And I do not like Joe Biden, but I do not find joy in him having cancer, okay? Now, first things first, Jill Biden should be arrested and charged with elder abuse. The entire time.
You did such a great job, Joe. You've done such a great job. You answered every single question. You know, we've been saying this. You know, and that's all we've seen, man. You know, who was running the country, auto pen, you know. All of a sudden, they all come in, mailed in, you know, millions and millions. Ghosts and dead people voting. Unbelievable what we've seen, man. And them patriots wake up the next morning and say, what happened? Yeah. No.
This entire time, you cannot get me to believe that she did not know that her husband had prostate cancer. This man has the most aggressive form of cancer. His prostate cancer has spread to his bones. Joe Biden is literally in the last stages. And you mean to tell me that they just found out today or yesterday or last week? No, they knew the entire time. But they called us conspiracy theorists when we said Joe Biden is not fit to be president because he is sick and he's not healthy.
Conspiracy theorists, conspiracy facts.
They called us conspiracy theorists. They called us crazy. We were fact-checked for saying that Joe Biden is not healthy. And his wife, Jill Biden, listen, I know that your husband is supposed to be your protector, but when your husband is sick, when he is sick and dying, you are supposed to step up and protect your husband. So you should be ashamed of yourself for allowing your sickly husband to be paraded around like he was healthy. You should be ashamed of yourself for allowing your sickly husband to run for president. You should be ashamed, Jill Biden. And you need to be charged with elder abuse. She needs to go to the federal penitentiary and spend the rest of her life in prison. This is absolutely sickening. And you know what? Everybody involved, every single body involved in Joe Biden being president, every single body involved in parading him around as if he was healthy, they should be charged with elder abuse also. They should be charged. They should be charged for participating in elder abuse.
We've said this in thousands of videos.
Yes, every single body involved should be charged with elder abuse. And Jill Biden, you should do the most time. Shame on you. Shame on you. Y'all, this is absolutely crazy. The American people were lied to over and over again. And the medical doctors who lied and said that Joe Biden was healthy, they need to face Congress. Those doctors who made those fake reports saying that Joe Biden was perfectly healthy, they should be charged with falsifying health documents. They should be charged for lying to the American people, for falsifying documents. There is no way that those doctors did not know that Joe Biden had cancer. You mean to tell me they did not know? This man has the most aggressive form of cancer. Those doctors participated. They are an accomplice in this elder abuse. So who was running who in the hell was the president of the United States of America for the last 4 damn years? Who was running this country? Because it wasn't Joe. Joe was out there trying to fight and trying to fight for his life, dealing with cancer.
and left a complete mess. Left Trump a complete mess, and he has a mandate. He's, you know, they elect him to do this, and y'all try to block him. Judges think they outrank the president, and what the hell is the point of a presidential election? You know, just can't make this up, man. Just can't make this up.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Breaking news. Joe Biden has been diagnosed with a very aggressive, very dangerous, very bad form of cancer. Experts tell us this is the kind of cancer you do not come back from. We're going to get into all of that, but I want to set the table here first about how this channel will always cover a situation like this. I can't think of somebody that I disagree with more politically than Joe Biden. I can't think of a worse president in my lifetime. That's a matter of fact. It's also a matter of fact that we will never wish ill on any fellow American. We don't wish harm on them.
Yes. And
so we're going to try and keep it classy here. And we're going to do our best to simply give you the facts, right? This is what separates us from the animals. We do not wish harm on our fellow Americans, okay? So here we go. These are the facts. Last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a finding of his prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. That's a very bad kind of cancer, characterized by a Gleason score of 9. This is, by the way, as we will get to, the worst score you can have. With metastasis to the bone. Now, that's where it gets really scary. I'm going to stop for just a moment and say metastasis to the bone. Let's talk about this for a second. What goes on in your bones? This is where your white blood cells, red blood cells are created. This is where your body is able to regenerate. And this is where you are able to create the kind of immunity and strength to keep going in life. When you have bone cancer, you just don't come back from that. That's what medical experts have told us. I've already given sort of the teaser here that we're not trying to be a doomer. We're not trying to do anything other than tell you what we have learned from direct experts. Bone cancer is the worst. It's what was told to us by a doctor, a death sentence, before we did this read. Metastasis to the bone. So that's bad. Not only is prostate cancer obviously an absolute killer and the number 3 killer of men, in America, but also the Gleason score of 9 means it's a horrible and very aggressive cancer, and the metastasis to the bone means that if it's in your bones, your body's going to have a virtually impossible time fighting this. While it represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The doctor that I spoke with told me that this was just cope. Again, I've already given the disclaimer, okay? We're not here to celebrate it, but it is, but you need to be prepared for what's happening here. You need to, you're an adult. You can accept the reality. We've been seeing the reality for a very long time that Joe Biden is not well. The president and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians. Reviewing treatment options with his physicians. That sounds like what you say when you're about to put somebody in hospice. Don't say we didn't warn you. This we published 5 days ago. 5 days ago, right here. Why? Because we read the wires. And there was a wire service report that doctors had found a nodule in Joe Biden's intestines. And so here's from 5 days ago, our channel saying this is really bad for Joe Biden. Joe Biden diagnosed with aggressive form of prostate cancer that metastasized to the bone. 82, Joe Biden has an aggressive form of cancer. The cancer has metastasized, spread to the bone. That's the most important part there. It doesn't matter what kind of cancer you have. Breast cancer, skin cancer. If it gets to your bones, where your blood cells are created, you're in a very, very bad, very, very bad place. The announcement came just weeks after reports revealed a small nodule was found on Biden's prostate. That's what we covered, and we said they're probably covering for something here. Routine exam needed further evaluation. The statement on the diagnosis states, last week, President Joe Biden seemed seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule for his urinary symptoms, increased urinary symptoms. Oh my. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. So this is, again, really, really bad. He left office as the oldest serving president. He's also had a long history of medical problems, right? I mean, it's not like he was in full health. We obviously could see it with our eyes. Biden resting after surgery from second brain aneurysm. He had multiple brain aneurysm surgeries. He had to go under full anesthesia. And Kamala Harris actually became the first female with presidential powers for 85 minutes. Joe Biden fit for duty after Harris temporarily granted powers during medical procedure. Joe Biden had cancer skin lesions removed while he was in the White House. So he did have cancer in the White House, right? So it's like this is something that obviously you can see from far away. But and many people are saying that, right? Here's Laura Loomer saying, as I reported several months ago, Biden's been terminally ill for a long time. It's just been kept a secret. Terminal means 6 months to a year to live. Of course, there's always outliers. But in July 2024, I reported on terminal illness diagnosis. He won't be alive much longer, in my opinion. He and his family are announcing this now to make people feel bad before a book coming out about his mental decline and how they covered it up. Everything I reported last year will, and still remains true. He will probably be sent to hospice soon. Well, I mean, listen, man, when you say that you are reviewing treatment options with physicians, and what is she talking about? So what she's talking about here is something that we've seized on, how Joe Biden couldn't get into the beast. He couldn't get into the presidential vehicle. Joe Biden didn't have the strength to lift himself into the vehicle. You can see it plainly here. Joe Biden doesn't have COVID. Joe Biden is terminally ill, said Laura Loomer. We said the exact same thing. And many people who were smart enough and wise enough to report on it at the time, you said
they want this man to, and push this man around to run again, And then he even came out and said, if I should have stayed in the race, I would have beat Trump. And saying she lost because of misogyny, sexism, racism, because she's a black woman. She lost. Everything we've seen take place during this timeline, man, for the last couple of years, the last couple of days, weeks, months, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth, doesn't it? But I still want to send my prayers to Biden, man. Again, I know how we feel about it and the Biden crime family. But we don't wish this on anybody, man, and it's sad what we've seen take place. Elderly abuse. People that need to be held accountable should have been walked out a long time ago. And we've been reporting on this. We've been piggybacking off on all this stuff, man. Sad, man. They did all this and turned America into a laughingstock. And left President Trump and this administration with just a complete mess, man. Shame on the left. Shame on the Democrats. Shame on the fake news media.
Wait a second. They used a cover. They lied to us. They lied to us again. They said that Joe Biden has COVID. Well, it wasn't COVID. We could all see it. There was a horrible medical emergency that occurred before a Las Vegas speech that Joe Biden was supposed to give. And he had to be medevaced out. Air Force One apparently was shaking. It was flying so fast back to the East Coast. Tucker Carlson, where's Biden? Clearly something's going on here. Why haven't we seen him? There was a medical emergency. Some saying that, that Joe Biden may have been, terminally ill at the time. And we were one of them because we could just see it. Before Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race, this was the last time you saw Joe Biden. You remember, he dropped out. He wasn't on TV. He wasn't on camera. You couldn't see him. Joe Biden looked horrible. This is about a year ago. This is coming on a year ago. So it really does, the real reckoning here is going to be, what about these demons who let Joe Biden carry on like this? Remember, he was still running for president in this state. Watch, he can't even watch his face. He like tries to make a facial expression. You can't even like use half of his face. Like his face is paralyzed, and then he can't get into the car. Famously, he doesn't have the strength to lift himself into the vehicle, as you can see very plainly here. Which, for anybody who was being honest with you at the time, well, they told you. They told you what was about to happen. Who is the most responsible for all of this? Jill Biden is pure evil. She trotted out Joe knowing he had dementia and was cancer riddled. Imagine doing that to your spouse. Pure evil. Jill Biden saying Joe answered all the questions. Imagine humiliating your husband like that. You clearly don't love him, right? You can't do that. You can't. This isn't how you treat someone you love. Jill Biden was on The View with Joe Biden less than a week ago.
Less than a week ago, man. Less than a week. Did a video on that.
They were on The View.
The Spew. And we don't call it The View. We call it The Spew. That's how them Patriots call it on this channel. Yeah. On this show, on this channel, the family calls it The Spew. It ain't The View. It's The Spew. And we got a video coming on that tomorrow, you guys. Be on the lookout. Tomorrow we got a video. A fight broke out over this Biden cover-up. Them women was on there arguing about Joe Biden in this whole cover-up. Just wait for that video tomorrow. It just gets worse and worse and worse, man.
You're telling me that they just found out about this on Friday? I don't buy it. I don't. I've had members of my family with cancer. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I don't buy it. Joe Biden was clearly infirmed. He was infirmed when he was at the Vatican. Here, I can show you. Here's a good example. This was Pope Francis's funeral. Joe Biden couldn't make it down the stairs. Joe Biden was like slipping and was barely able to make it to the stairs. He had to grasp on for dear life. You're telling me that you thought Joe Biden was in full health in this moment? No, man. No. It's absolutely sick. It's completely demonic what they've done. What they did to Joe Biden. I'm Joe Biden's best friend in the world, meaning like I'm the person who has always been advocating that he should be removed from public life, that he's sick, that like a good and loving family would have taken him out of public life at this point. Diagnosed with cancer. This is, of course, all across social media. This is what's really important here, the Gleason score. So this is what he has right here. You know, it goes from here 6 down to 9 to 10. Highly aggressive, rapidly growing, high risk. It's the worst. It's the worst type of cancer you could possibly get. I want to make it very clear that, like, you know, Donald Trump Jr., like how we deal with things like this is Joe Biden has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. Politics aside, we wish him a speedy recovery. Everyone sharing this, you know, on the right, MTG saying they pray for Joe Biden and his family. Cancer is awful. I'm sorry to see this news. This is what separates us from the animals, frankly. And here's further evidence supporting the reporting that we did for this story. Study found a 5-year survival rate of Joe Biden's cancer is 32%. That's abysmal. And this doesn't include the metastasis to the bone. So it's really bad. This is CNN's reporting on it. Once again, we wish nobody any harm. And the people who allowed this to happen to Joe Biden and used him up through this diagnosis, or even in spite of knowing about this diagnosis, there should be a reckoning on them and held accountable. Here's CNN's reporting on it.
This is CNN Breaking News.
This breaking news, former President Joe Biden has just announced that he has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. Let's get straight to the White House and senior reporter Betsy Klein with more on this. Betsy.
Yeah, Frederica, the White House, the office of former President Joe Biden issuing a statement just moments ago that the former president has been diagnosed on Friday with what they described as an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. I want to read you this statement again from Biden's personal office. It says, last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, characterized by a Gleason score of 9 with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The statement goes on to say that that Biden and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians. Of course, President Biden is 82 years old, and of course, there has been so much scrutiny around the former president's health and his mental acuity and fitness for a second term in office. That is the subject, of course, of a new book from our colleague Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, as well as something that was really underscored by the release of the Her tapes earlier this week. So again, we've asked the White House for comment on this development. We will bring more details to you as soon as we have them. But again, former President Biden diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. Frederica.